lovies, it is me, Mrs. T, and I am back sitting down in front of my big girl camera, and today I'm here to answer the Q&A questions that I posted. It had to be maybe 2 weeks ago now. I posted them on Facebook, I posted a request on Twitter, and I posted a request on Instagram. So today we're going to answer your questions. I must say you guys are awesome because you gave me some really great questions. Most of them seem to be on Facebook. And there are a few, maybe a couple on Instagram as well. So let's just dig in because there's like 20, maybe 30 questions, all right? So the first one is from Anne-Marie Brown, and she's asked, how do you find balance? I don't know if I found it yet. I try to keep things balanced, meaning I'm assuming she means between like family and blogging and personal life. I see myself as like a three-headed monster, kind of. Just to say that I'm a wife, yes. I'm a mom, yes. And then I'm also just me. So finding that balance isn't always easy, but I try to do it by making sure I give enough time to each of those parts of me. I'm a mom when I need to be. I'm a wife when I need to be. But there are also times when I have to say, okay, I need to step back and take a little bit of time for me. And I find that making that time for myself helps me balance everything everywhere else. So Anne-Marie, I hope that answers your question. The next question is from Jenna Grace Smith, and she says, how do you balance your time on home stuff and work? Really, it's more or less like I have to set hours. Because when I first started blogging, honestly, people, I OD'd just a little bit. Like, I was blogging from crack of dawn in the morning, squeezing in mom and home stuff, and then blogging till middle of the nighttime. And that wasn't healthy for me. It wasn't healthy for my family. My husband wasn't happy. My kids were just watching me type on the computer all the time. So I had to learn that, yes, my blog is my job. So therefore, I had to set hours that I do it in. Yes, I may do it sometime here and there when I have to throughout the day, but most times I try to do it first thing in the morning before my son wakes up, and then I will stay up and do it after all my kids are settled and in the bed. And sometimes I may squeeze in it a little bit if they're in school or if I have an hour here or there. I blog via my phone, which is my best friend, but that's what I had to do. I had to find that balance by setting hours for what I do and when I do it. Hope that makes sense, Jenna. Next question is from Carmela Mempin. And if I mispronounce anybody's name, please charge it to my head and not my heart, because I mean you no disrespect. But it's from Carmela, and she says, how do you manage your time? This seems to be like an awesome topic for everybody. It really is kind of easy as long as you stay consistent in what you do. It can be so simple to get on Facebook or to start doing social media and totally lose track of time. And I still do it every once in a while. But the main thing that I had to learn was be consistent and set that time. Like, just be like, okay, I've been on for about an hour. Let me get off. My actual way for me to know when it's time to get off my laptop is once my battery dies, I'm done. And for me, and I purposely keep it unplugged when I'm working. So that way, maybe 2 hours in, I'll get the little alert. I'm like, okay, I'm about to wrap things up. It's been long enough. And then I'll get off. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of a helpful tip for me. Next question is from Barbara Farina, and she says, how do you manage stress? For me, the easiest way for me to manage stress is to pray about it. That's like my only resource. I've tried drinking tea and sitting in deep thought, and none of that really works for me. My foundation and my core is my faith. So my faith is what I turn to every time I'm in trouble. So when I feel stressed and when I feel overwhelmed, the first thing I do is pray. The next thing I do is take some time away from whatever the stress source is. Meaning, if it's my blog, I will take a couple days and just turn away from it. If it's something here at home, I will go have a mama day and get my nails done so I can clear my head. So managing stress for me basically means turning away from whatever the source of that stress is for a while and getting myself refocused, which is what prayer does for me too. This next question is from Angela Bethia, and she says, how do you monetize your blog and social networks? The biggest tip, Angela, is to join a community like BlogHer. There's Central Influence. Now there's SoFluential with Army Wife 101. She helps run that one. Join a community that helps be that in-between person between you and a brand. And that's when you start getting the stuff. Also, SoFab, Collective Bias. Join stuff like that. I will leave links for all of these communities down below. And some of them have number requirements, like you have to have a certain amount of page views, but some of them don't. They just want to see that you're present and that you're engaging. And if you do that and you get that connection between you and the brand, that's the way that I started monetizing stuff. Now, I know when I first started, if you're not there number-wise, start reviewing products on your own. That was my first step into getting a brand to recognize me. I would just go buy some random thing, write a review about it, and then I would tag each and every company that I mentioned. And once in a while, first it was kind of random, and then more consistently, those brands would start reaching out to me and offering me free products. And then once I got to a level where my numbers were better, that's when the money started coming in for it. So the biggest thing is, when you want to monetize your blog, is to take that step outside of your comfort zone, join communities, and start putting yourself out there a bit more. Make sure you're on Twitter. Twitter is the biggest and best place to connect with brands because you can tag them when you're making a comment about one of their products. You can find out what's coming out new. Also, Instagram. If you snap a picture of a vase that you just bought from Target or whatever and tag Target and tag the vase maker, boom, you just connected with that brand and they may reach out. You never know. It's worth taking the chance. So that was how I started. The next question is from Chris T. I want to say Hoove. This one is kind of random. He just says, what can you say about the issue of the cruelty to improve MAC lipstick? I honestly don't know. Like, I have no idea. I don't wear MAC lipstick. It's way out of my price range because I don't wear makeup like that. So I'm really not sure. The next thing under there was under the questions for Facebook was from Stephanie Pass, and she just said like she loves reading these answers. Stephanie, that's awesome. I hope you watch so that you can see the answers as well. Next question is from Esme Sai. I sure don't want to mess up your name. How fun is this? Any blogging advice? Blogging advice. My biggest blogging tip is to be authentically you. Be yourself. I think that is the biggest draw to any brand because brands are always looking for a unique point of view. They want to see what you can bring to somebody that maybe the next blogger can't, because that part is what's going to draw a different set of readers, a different audience, a different set of users, and new people to whatever their product is. So I think that's the biggest blogging tip I can ever give. Don't try to copy janesmith.com. Don't try to copy bigbrand.com. Be whoever you are and be it completely. Make your brand so visible and so noticeable that they can't help but see what you have to offer. So that's my biggest blogging advice. Becky Mortson asks, do you have resources on how to start your first blog? Becky, for me, when I started my blog, I'm like very OCD, very controlling. I know it's not always a good trait, but I did like tons and tons of research. For me, the biggest resource for me was Twitter, because I started following other bloggers. I started watching what they were doing, the links they were sharing. I would go check them out, and that was how I started learning the most that I needed to know about how to start a blog. As far as resources, Army Wife 101, she's a great person to follow if you want to see great blogging tips. Follow her across her social media. I will leave links for her down below. She just started something called That Pitch Life on Facebook. It's a group where she gives tips on how to pitch yourself to brands, but she's also helping you figure out how to get into the blogging world as well. Other resources would be Google. Like, seriously, I Googled everything when I was starting my blog. But my biggest tip when you're starting your blog is to own your domain, because I really think having yourname.com makes such a big impact with brands. So that would be the first step. And Becky, if you have any more detailed questions, feel free to leave me a comment down below and ask me, or shoot me an email at Mrs. T, MRSTEE at TheMrsTee.com, and I'll answer your questions directly. Or you can shoot over to TiffanyHaywood.com, which is my blog consult site, and I can set up something there and we can totally talk in full detail on exactly what you want to know. The next question is from Anna Fernandez, and she says, what is the best way to find out about new campaigns? Anna, like I was saying to the earlier question about how to get monetized, the biggest way to get notice or know, I can talk, I promise, to know about new campaigns is to be a part of a brand community like SoFab, and Collective Bias, and MSBNewMedia, and BlogHer, and Central Influence. Join those communities and they will send you tons and tons of emails, and you can filter them. You can set up your profile to let them know what type of campaigns you're interested in. And like with SoFab, you can actually go there and you see a list of all the campaigns they have, and you pick them according to what you think fits you and your site and your niche the best way. So my biggest tip for finding out about new campaigns is joining communities. It's so worth it. At first, I didn't think it was like that big a deal, but I think that's where I found most of my campaigns and stuff, is when I joined the communities that I'm in now. Jennifer L. Johnson asks, what's your favorite blog post that you have written? Now, Jennifer, I had to look this one up because first I was like, oh, I really like this one. It was like my first blog post ever. And then I was like, oh, but no, this one meant a lot to me too. So I searched and I searched over my site. It's been about 3 years since I started, so I think I've done about 1,100 posts. Wow, I didn't even realize there was that many. But my favorite is actually not one post. It's a series of about 3 to 4 posts. And I wrote it near the beginning of when I started. And it's called Finding My True Path. And this series pretty much covers who I am as a person. And it's a great, I love these posts as a series because it helps introduce me to whoever comes by the site. And once you read these series, you know who I am as a woman, you know who I am as a wife, you know who I am as a mother, and you end up knowing who I am as a friend. And that's pretty much every part of me that I share on my site on a day-to-day. So reading this series is a great introduction to TheMrsTee.com. So that would definitely be my favorite set of posts. And if you guys want to read it, I'll leave a link down below to the series itself. Or you can stop by TheMrsTee.com and just type in the search bar, Finding My True Path, and it'll give you the entire series. So that's the answer to that question. Okay, next question is from Elle Marie, and she says, what is the best advice you have for a couple before they get married? The best advice before you get married is to make sure that you're friends. I think the fact that my husband and I are friends before anything else, and we were friends before anything else, is what gets us through the tough times, because it's not all physical, it's not all attraction, it's not financial, it's not even all lovey-dovey. I think you have to have that core foundation for your relationship for all of that other stuff to work. So my biggest tip and best advice for a couple before they get married is to establish and to build your friendship before any and everything else. Make sense? I hope so. Next question is from Caitlin Marie, and she says, how do you know when it is time to potty train? I think my son is ready, but I don't want to start too soon. I would say follow your gut instincts. I think my kids all started potty training at different ages, but they were all done pretty much by 2. My son actually learned the fastest, which I've heard is kind of odd for boys, but he was potty trained by the time he was 1. He was 1 and he was completely potty trained. And I was actually shocked, but he did not like Pampers on him. He didn't like how they felt when he had his business done. So I think he pretty much pushed himself to potty train because he just didn't like that. My daughters actually took a little bit longer. They were pretty much potty trained by the time they were 2. But I think it really means follow your gut and know your child. If you see that they're ready, then go ahead and potty train them. I don't think there's any set time schedule, or, I mean, this is my personal opinion, I'm not an expert, but I don't think there's a set time frame. You feel your kid out, you know who they are, you know what they like, what they don't like, and you know what they can do. So go by your gut. Next question is from Coralie Wright, and she says, what kind of schedule do you have for posting? Guys, I'm so bad. I don't really have a schedule. Unless it's for a campaign and I have due dates, I pretty much write when I feel like writing, and I write what I feel and whatever's happening to me in that moment. Which I found is not always great, because sometimes I'm sitting there like, I don't really feel like writing and I haven't really posted anything in a couple days. Let me go figure something out. Now, when that happens, it's not the end of the world. Like, I'm not always totally inspired by my surroundings. And when I'm not, I go look at a couple of writing prompts. There are so many sources that can give you like one-word prompts or a couple lines of prompts that can spark that writer in you. I go to MamaKatsLosinIt all the time. I'll leave her link down below. BlogHer also offers monthly and daily prompts. I'll leave their links down below. All of those places are great resources when you don't have inspiration, but as far as a writing schedule, I don't really have one. Like I said, unless it's a campaign and I have set due dates, that's when I actually schedule stuff out. And most times, I'm more of a last minute type person, but that's not great when you're working for a company. So what I do is, if they give me a due date of the 18th, I give myself a due date of the 15th. That way, I'm always on time and I still feel like I'm working last minute. I kind of trick myself a little bit. Okay, so the next question is from Kara SF. How long does it take you to write a post? Now, if it's one of those posts, like I said just now, where I'm totally inspired and it's just all the muses and everything is just working through my inner writer, I can put out a post in like an hour. I think the thing that takes me the longest when it comes to a post are the images and the little tweaks here and there and changing a font and realigning something in the post itself. But the actual writing of it, maybe about an hour. Now, when it comes to a campaign, obviously we have set guidelines and requirements and things you have to kind of check off a list when you're doing a writing for a campaign. So those will take a lot longer. Most times the actual writing content of it is still about an hour, but all that tweaking and going in to make sure you have everything correct and the links and the images and the sizes and watermarking, that can actually go on to about a day, 4 to 6 hours to make sure it's perfect before I hit submit. So yeah, that's the answer to that, Kara. I hope that helps you out. Nina Pingle. Her question is, what is the best thing to relax in doing blog social network? What is the best thing to relax in doing blog social network? Okay, Nina. The best thing to relax, I think, is to take time away when you need it. The last part of the question, I'm not really getting. I guess if you mean when you're doing blogging and social media, just be sure to take a little bit of time off when you need it. Don't overwhelm yourself. Don't feel like you have to blog every single day or anything like that. Just do it in moderation. Okay, next question is from Ana de Jesus. How do you approach PRs? PRs are public relation reps for brands and companies, and most times I have on occasion, if I really wanted to work with a brand, I would just search their website, scroll down till I found a PR rep's email and sent out a blind pitch letter. And a pitch letter is basically showing what you can offer that brand, how you can offer it to them, examples of what you've done before, and how you can be unique from the next blogger trying to pitch them, kind of thing. That's pretty much how you approach them. The other way is if you go through, like I said, a blogging community who has contacts with a PR rep. You can ask if they have different campaigns for different brands that you want to work with. And most recently, Crystal from Army Wife 101 has actually started something where she's what she calls like a blog rep. It's pretty much she pitches for you to the different PR reps because she has a really great communication set when it comes to talking to PR. She knows how to get what you want and she knows how to tell them what they need. So that's also a great way if you want to approach a PR rep. You can hire somebody to be that middle person if you don't feel you're, I don't know, like if that's not your thing. Because we're all not great at every single thing. Sometimes you need somebody else who that's what they do. So I will leave her link down below for that as well. The next question is Maggie Branch. From Maggie Branch. How do you find a balance between work and family? Maggie, I think I answered this earlier. It's really all about setting boundaries between your work and family. Make sure they don't overlap and make sure you don't take away from one to try to benefit the other. Next question is from Aisha Hart. Do you spend more on clothes or shoes? Oh my gosh. Definitely clothes, because I'm pretty much a Chuck sneakers, boots kind of gal. So once I get a good pair, they last me for years. Like I was just so heartbroken that I threw out a pair of like knee top leather boots that I had since literally like 9th grade. And I just threw them out like last month. And that's because they were like falling apart. It wasn't because like I just didn't like them. So I think I definitely spend more money on clothes. Because clothes I can buy anytime I go to a store. Shoes, not so much. I'm not that big a shoe spender. The next question is from Katrina Rubner de Oliveira. She says, how do you find time for everything? I really don't. I mean, like, I had to learn how to let go of wanting to do every single thing. Like, I used to think I literally had to accomplish everything on my to-do list in that one day, or else I was like a total failure. But then I had to realize I'm human. And if I don't finish it, there's always tomorrow, the next day, or the next day. It's not going to be the end of the world. I just learned how to prioritize the really important stuff. And the stuff I didn't get to, it was okay. And once I allowed myself to be okay with that, it got a lot easier. And I don't have to find time for everything anymore. I just have to find time for the important things. So I hope that helps, Katrina. And then I just had a little comment from Ang Tinkum. He said, looking forward to your post. Very informative page. Thank you so much. And the next question I have is from Heather Paulding. And she says, what are your best relaxation tips? I think I said this. It's pretty much take some time to yourself. If you need it, take it. If you see or you feel yourself getting stressed out, go get your nails done. Go sit in Starbucks. Go get your feet did. Go shop. Go window shop. Just go. I mean, like, that's the best way I relax anyway. And if you're not like a go type person, take a book, sit in a corner and read. Light a candle. Pick a favorite movie. Just like woosah. And bring yourself back to yourself. And I think that's the best way to keep your focus on things and to relax. Now, the next couple of questions are actually from Instagram. And this one is from Trisha Scruggs. And she says, I want to create an IG page that's not solely filled with pics of my cute kids. Any advice? Hey, Trisha, how are you? Now, if your Instagram page is a blog page or for a business or a brand, I would say you can still have pictures of your kids, but a lot of people, the reason people follow Instagram feeds are they want to get those snippets of a person's life through their photographs. So I try to post on my Instagram a combination of all things me and all things my brand. So if you watch my Instagram page, it's at MRSTEEH, at Mrs. TH. Just take a scroll down. I have recently redesigned the theme or the look of my Instagram, but I tend to make sure I mix in brand content, everyday content, and then just like, hey, this is what I'm looking at type stuff. If you keep a balance between the things that you want to be the focus of your page, I think you'll do fine. You don't have to have a theme like I have right now. You can post random, you can post outside pictures, you can post inside pictures, but just make sure you keep it a balance. Like you said, you don't want to fill it up with your cute kids, because if that's not what your brand is about, or if your whole brand is not wrapped around your cute kids, then you're not using Instagram to its fullest. So I think that the main tip I would give you is to find a balance. If you post this morning a picture of your kid, make sure in the next 2 to 3 hours you post a picture of something you did that day or something you liked that day. And then your next posting, which, by the way, little tip, try to keep your postings consistent. I try to post at least 3 to 4 times a day, and I try to keep them about the same amount of hours apart. So your next posting should probably be something to do with your brand of business or whatever your IG page is actually focused on. And then the photo after that, you can go back to a picture of your kid. You get what I'm saying? So just keep your rotation pretty steady and make sure you cover the areas that you want to cover. The next question is also from IG, Instagram, and it's from C. James Hope at Play. How do you set yourself apart from all of the other bloggers? I'm not sure. I hope I'm setting myself apart from all other bloggers, but I think this goes back to the question I had earlier about what tips would I give a blogger. I think being yourself is the best way to set yourself apart, because in all honesty, nobody else can be you. I mean, when you try to be like somebody else, it takes so much darn effort, and most times you're not very successful, and if you are, it's not for a long period of time. Like, I've had a few people not stalk me, but like try to emulate me, I guess. And I know they say like, what is it, when somebody copies you is the biggest form of flattery or whatever, but after a while sometimes you're like, okay, kind of do your own thing, stop copying me. I've had that happen, and most times if they weren't true to themselves, they didn't last that long, or they had to change up their game, or they had to find their own way to be what they wanted to be. You get what I'm saying? So I think the biggest way to set yourself apart as a blogger is to be you. because you're the best person to do it and you're the best one qualified for the job. That's the way I see it. The next question was actually on Twitter, and it's from Kate Elizabeth, and she's at Kate's Cozy Corner. And her question is, well, one, she says she loves Q&As. Woot woot, me too. And her next question is, what is your go-to outfit? My go-to outfit, I actually posted about this yesterday in yesterday's Morning Moments. And I call it my mom uniform or my mama form. Yeah, I'm coining that phrase. Hashtag mama form. Hashtag mama form. But is jeans, chucks, and a t-shirt. Any kind of printed graphic t-shirt and jeans and some sneakers, and I'm good. If it's freezing outside, it's Uggs jeans and a hoodie. You know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much my standard go-to outfit. I'm not too dressed up. I'm not too casual. I'm comfy cozy. I can still deal with my kids and not trip in some heels or whatever. I'm good to go. So that's definitely my go-to outfit, Kate. And I love that question, by the way. Now, the next two questions, ooh, these were actually from Facebook. I meant to try to keep them all, like, in order. But this one is from, oh, I'm not going to mess up your name. Your last name is Nia. I'm scrolling all the questions down below, so you guys can read her name, but I don't want to jack this up at all. And her question is, what inspires you to blog? Honestly, my life. My blog was started as a way for me to have an outlet for my writing and to have feedback for my writing. But my writing itself is normally inspired by my life as a woman, a wife, and a mom, and a friend. So that's what inspires me, my life. The next and the very last question, people, this was a longer video, but I really didn't want to do a 2-part series or whatever. I wanted to get it all done, especially since you guys have been waiting. But the last question is from Mariter Guma Bordas, and she asks, how do you deal with your life and keep it stress-free? I don't. I deal with my life through my faith and through prayer and through family and friends and all that lovely stuff. But I don't keep it stress-free because I think stress helps add to who you are. It gives you strength and it helps build you into a better person. I honestly wouldn't even know how to keep my life completely stress-free. I know how to not succumb to the stress and not get too overwhelmed by it. But I think the stress is a good thing. It's a good factor. It helps me. I don't know if I'm hiding behind these flowers, but I think the stress helps me be who I am. It helps me be a better me. Does that make sense? So those were the questions, guys, from the Q&A. And it looks like this actually, I put this Q&A up on February 29th. So I apologize for the delay. I just was trying to gather all the questions together and make sure I answered everybody's stuff. And I thank you so much to each and every one of you who gave me a question. I can't wait to do another one of these. Maybe we'll try to make it like a monthly or a bi-monthly thing. I'm trying not to speak stuff in my videos and then not live up to them. But I did love this. It was so much fun. And I love sharing with you guys. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this as much as I did doing it. And I'll see you guys next time for the next video. Talk to you later. You know those moments you're in a conversation and somebody's talking about something and you're just like, I have no clue. Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. Yes, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.